Hey guys, I'm Elliot. This is Everything Elliot. And once again, don't forget to subscribe. It would really help me out. Hit the thumbs up too while you're at it. It's free. Why not? Today is going to be part 2 of our homemade lawn roller. Now, if you haven't seen part 1, I'll put a link up top for you guys to go check that out. In part 1, what we did was we got the barrel ready for the lawn roller. Now, if you've seen that episode and you're here for part 2 because you wanted to follow along, the only thing I've done since that video is I've welded the axle onto this nut, and I actually just did it, so this is still a little warm. I also got the bearings in, so we can get that done. Obviously both sides are welded. And today what we're gonna be working on is taking this pile of metal that's right here and making it into some sort of frame. So what I think I'm gonna work on first is setting up the front bar, because we need to have the front bar set up before we can do anything else. I'm gonna get some jack stands. We're gonna figure out where we need to put that front bar. I'll set that front bar up on the jack stands just so it hangs onto it. So this is going to end up being the front bar. I've put it about 1 inch off the roller, and the back bar we're going to make tight to the roller. That's going to scrape off any mud that gets collected as the roller rolls, like this. It'll grab the mud, scrape the mud off the roller. Maybe I'll chamfer this edge a little bit, see if that helps. Might just have it be sticky from the saw cut. All right, well, I'm gonna chamfer that edge. I'm gonna go clean up the other side, make sure that side gets on, and I'll be back with you guys once I get the bearings onto this bar. Again, this is a 1/4 inch bar, or I'm sorry, a 1 1/4 inch bar and a 1 1/4 inch bearing. I got the bearings on. All I had to do, I just had to take the Brillo pad and clean off all the mill scale. That's why it wouldn't fit on there, but it's on there now. Works great. And this is a self-aligning bearing, so that means even if this is at an angle, you know, this is supposed to be flat, but even if you mess up and you make it a little bit at an angle, it'll still work properly. All right, let's do some measuring, and I was planning on mitering this at a 45, so it looked really nice, but I don't think my metalworking skills are good enough to do that, so I'll probably just end up doing a 90 straight back to it. It'll be plenty strong still. Not worried about it. There's going to be plenty of weld on here. I'd rather do that and have it be strong than me screw up the miter and not be able to use it. Again, not building a bridge here. We're just trying to get it close. That looks like it'll be pretty close. So this is the same size channel, and I'm just using it to make sure everything's aligned. The reason I set that up is I want to make sure this piece is where it needs to be laterally on here before I go mark that piece over there to cut it. So we'll go take this channel over here and mark that side to where it needs to be cut. Yeah, it looks to be about straight. Just about 76.5. All right, I'm gonna go get some eye and ear protection on, and we're gonna go fire up the saw and see if the saw wants to run today, because I really don't want to cut this with an angle grinder. Well, apparently the saw wants to work today, so that's great. 76 3/8 on the back side, 76 7/16 on the front side. So I was a 1/16 off on my front to back, which when using a big chop saw like that isn't really that big of a deal. Yeah, let's get the other piece up here and let's cut that one. All right, let's see if the saw's ready for round 2. right, so we've got our front and back cut. Let's see how good I was with this thing. 76 and 3/8 and 76 and 7/16. Apparently my eyeball is a 16th off, but at least both of them are exactly the same. All right, now that we've got the front and back piece cut, we need to figure out what our distance in between them is gonna be. So like I was saying, on the front I'm gonna have about 1 inch, and the back is gonna be super tight at probably about 1/4 inch, so it scrapes the mud off. This side is 25 and 3/8, and the far side I've got up as 25 and 1/2. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these pieces at 25 and 1/2, and that'll give us our cross section. Wonder how close I am. Not too shabby at all. All right, let's take these back in. We'll get everything ground up and ready to weld. All right, so we got everything ground up, ready to weld. And right now I've got my magnet inside here, and I'm just double checking with my square. So this thing is ready to, well, I should say this joint is ready to be tacked together. I'm gonna repeat this process on all 4 sides. I think I screwed up. I think this bar is supposed to go on the outside. Oh boy. You know what the wonderful thing about recording all of this is? I can just look back at the footage and see where I measured from. So I'm gonna do that quick. This side is 25 and 3/8, and the far side I've got up as 25 and 1/2. All right, update for you. Watch the footage, and that little panic moment I had, all for nothing. I do have it set up right. These bars are supposed to go on the inside. And for you watching at home, you're like, yeah, I know. I just watched that like 10 seconds ago. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get the rest of it tacked together and fully welded. All right, well, it's fully welded. Get my drawers pulled up here, tucked in so I don't look like a hot mess for you guys. How do I look now? Do I look fancy? Do I look good? All right. What is wrong with me? It's fully welded, and I mean, it doesn't look terrible. I got the settings where I needed them to be. So next, I'm gonna flip this over, and then we can take the barrel and set the barrel inside of it. That way we can mark our holes for our bearing. Did I mention this is extremely heavy now? I kind of want to like weld these bearings on here because I know it'll be easier than drilling and throwing a bolt through it. But that would definitely not make it as easy when it comes time to change out the bearings. But it rolls. So all 4 are drilled. It'll sit in there perfectly. Now I need to get this thing off the top of it, and I need to weld the tongue on there. So this piece is going to be the tongue. Now, naturally, this is a channel. I can't have this on here. Well, I suppose I could weld it upside down. No, that wouldn't look nice. Don't do that, Elliot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break out the torches and I'm going to attempt to cut this piece of channel out maybe, I don't know, 6-8 inches back. That way I can put a hole through here. That'll be the hitch. I don't know, we'll see if we can cut this thing. I'm not very good with the torches. I had mentioned that in the last video, but this is the best time to try, so why not give it a try? Now, I bought these torch goggles from Harbor Freight because this is the only thing I could find quick, and I suppose we'll see how they do. Not the most comfortable, but boy, are they stylish.
That's like extra danger.
How come nobody told me that my torch end was on fire? I mean, I can't imagine that's good. Let's try to do better on the next side here. 'Cause boy, oh boy, is that ugly. Certainly isn't pretty. Melted my glove a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing. I've watched a couple videos on it, and I can't translate it into what I'm doing here, but I'm trying, and that's what matters. So I warped the shit out of it. That's all right. We'll heat it up and just bend it back. That is going to need some grinding. Let's see if we can get this hitch welded on here since I have everything out already. Actually, it's lunchtime, so I'll let this cool down so I don't accidentally burn myself. And I gotta go into work for a couple hours, so I guess this is where it's gonna stay for today. Put my hat back on the right way. So we've got most of the frame built out. Essentially, the only thing I need left to do is I need to mount the hitch onto it. I need to put some gussets on the hitch so it has some lateral strength when you're turning. And then I gotta go to the store and just get some bolts so I can bolt it all on. We will then test fit everything, bolt it all together, make sure there's no issues. I'll take it back all apart and I'm gonna paint it. So this is where we stand. I've got everything welded up and it's ready for the final fitment of the roller. We need to put the roller on there, bolt everything down, make sure everything works perfectly before I spend the time and paint it, because if I have to cut it back apart, I don't want to be painting it again. What we're going to do is we're going to slap the roller in there, bolt the roller down, make sure everything fits, and then we'll move forward. Well, apparently I didn't hit record, but I got the bolts all bolted down, so we're gonna throw some grease in it.
All right, the grease zerks are not tightened down. Gonna have to tighten those down first. Who would have thunk that they'd come tightened down? Apart from my absolutely horrendous torch skills, which, like I've said before, the only way for me to get better is to work on things, and I've watched videos on it, I've worked on the pressures and stuff, and I can't seem to get the hang of it. I'm a pretty quick study on a lot of things, but the torches just seem to escape my grasp. I'm pretty happy with the way that it turned out. This is something that I just came up with in my mind. I didn't really have any plans or anything like that. It's something you can do at home. Go and get yourself a $300 Harbor Freight welder with some flux core. You don't even need gas to do it. Just clean your metal super good. I'm not a professional welder. I don't claim to be a professional welder, but I can weld something so it sticks together. And you've heard me toss around the term farm welder before, and that's a term that I use. I don't know if a lot of guys use it, but it's just not a professional, but somebody that's good enough to weld on implements and stuff. So, I mean, that's gonna be about it for this video. I'm gonna get this thing off the jack stands. We're gonna roll it around a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make this thing. The next video I make with it, I'll have it all painted up. We'll throw it on the old lawnmower and roll the lawn, see how it really does. Enjoy me struggling to get this thing off the jack stands. We'll roll it around a little bit and see how it rolls. I think that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. And once again, don't forget to subscribe. It would really help me out. Hit the thumbs up too while you're at it. It's free. Why not?